Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, on the second hour, we'll be focusing on the digital economy. Where are we as a country? You do know that this particular administration that is led by President William Ruto has been focusing on the digital superhighway. How has this benefited not just the private but public sector, but mostly the youth in the country? Also, we'll be keeping tabs on the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We'll be getting any brief from our reporter, that is Joseph Wahungu, who is currently there. Officials from KEA have already issued a statement, as well as Kenya Airways. We are waiting to see the various ministries that are concerned with this particular issue, like the Ministry of Labour and Transport, are yet to speak to this particular issue. Once they do, we'll be briefing you on the same. Now, joining us for this second hour is none other than Hilary Lisimba, a digital journalist. Hilary, karibu sana. Feel at home.
Thank you so much.
Uko nyumbani.
Yeah, I'm home.
Next to Hilary is Enoch Chisengo, a digital economy consultant. Enoch, welcome.
Thank you.
And then finally, we do have Muriuki Murunge, the MD of Idea Hive East Africa.
Asante.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Hilary. Given that we do know that you do have some statistics in this particular area, where are we as a country when it comes to implementing the digital economy in our country? More so, you do know that the government is focusing on the creation of digital hubs within the country, especially in various wards and constituencies. So how is the progress so far, if you have ears on the ground?
Okay, if you ask me, I think we are doing very well as a country, because I happen to have enjoyed both worlds, when we were still lagging behind,
yes,
and where we are right now. So because sometimes you go to the villages and you find, even very deep inside, there are young men who actually have smartphones, and they understand what's happening on the digital space. I've gone to other countries that I won't mention names.
Okay.
And you get there and you find even the connection, the internet connection is a problem.
Okay.
What has made us maybe make all these strides is the connection. We have a very good connection by there in Africa. I think we are the second or third best.
Yes.
So that has made digital space, the space open up, because you see, when you open the broadband and all these things, then it's easy for you to actually pass information even to the very deep corners, and that opens up the space. So I'll say Kenya is doing very well. We are not where we are supposed to be, but in Africa we are doing really well. I can assure you that. Yeah.
Enoch, are we making progress in this sector?
Well, as my brother said, yes, we are on a good trajectory. But the legal and the policy framework that is supposed to accelerate the digital growth, I think it's the implementation is what is lagging behind in terms of putting correct policies in place to ensure that the young people are protected even as they engage in the digital space. So I believe we have policies in place, but if they are implemented to the latter, for example, issues of taxes, you saw the demonstration that happened last.
Yes.
So many digital content creators were on the streets, and they were crying because of the overtaxation and so many other issues that hinder the growth in that sector. Yeah, so we are on the right track, but I think we still have a long way to go and a lot to do. Yes.
Okay. Let me go to Muriuki now. Muriuki, we're talking of, are there opportunities in this particular sector? Because we do know the major issue in the country right now is unemployment.
Yes. Yes. So from an opportunity point of it, I'll say number one is a yes. I think for us, from a private sector, and also somebody who runs a creative agency, advertising agency, so from a creative economy, so advertising is part of it. And the ecosystem within the advertising sector is also big. Let's say copywriters, at the end of the day, people do production, a part of it. Also, when I look at from also still the ecosystem aspect of it, we look at aspect of also music. So there's so much to be done. And for me, the call out is in regards to the youth is, where do you position yourself to fit in at the end of the day? Because it's about also now positioning yourself to fit. And then when you look at from what my colleague said, also from the acceleration, I mean, access to internet doesn't matter where you are post-COVID. I mean, I remember I worked from home for 2 years, 2 good years. I mean, we were told to work from home. Me, I went to the village for 2 good years. And it doesn't matter where you are. As long as you have a smartphone and the internet, I think you can do something. So question is, at the end of the day, with those 2 tools, how do you intend to use them at the end of the day? Because right now, as you say, there's something happening at JKIA. People may be shooting content. Those are the guys maybe who are broadcasting to you their content. Then you go to these platforms, then you have now the platforms from a distribution aspect of it. The beauty is also now from a distribution part of it, because the key thing here is also the content people create or make. It's very easy to be able to distribute that content at the end of the day. So once you're able to identify anything that you are creating, who is the target audience, what do you want to create? For me, the opportunities are immense, and it's for the youth to kind of also position themselves to leverage on whatever is available, because it's not like 10 years ago. Yes.
And Hilary, I'm seeing you smiling there. Given that we have seen in the Mashinani, you've just clearly stated that people even have smartphone down there. So is there enough public sensitization on how to use those gadgets as well as the social media platforms that we have so that they can at least make a living?
Now, the problem we have in Kenya is we have fools. They say fools with phones, whereby you have this phone, it can do so many things. You know, phones can do a lot of things for you. Now, add that to the internet, and it needs responsibility. That's where we fail. That is why you see an accident happens, and what do people do? Take videos, share online. You see, if you went to a media school, you learn that's a breach of so many things. Like you are showing people, like someone just learning the relative has died from Facebook. You see, that's a very bad thing to do. But now, how do you ensure that, even as we have these smartphones, we have people who are responsible enough to know, I can use this thing positively rather than negatively? Because Kenyans are good at sharing such things and trolling. When Kenyans decide to troll somebody, they go all out. Now, the problem is, you'll find someone who's trolling another person is jobless. The same phone being used to troll somebody can be used to do online work. But what are we doing? We are using this because we are miserable in a way to use this gadget and the internet connection for our own gratification that is actually not benefiting us. So where we are failing is the bit of responsibility. How do you make sure that this person who has a smartphone and internet can use it to the benefit of themselves? Because we are using it to destroy others. That's where you find we have this gang online that they're always waiting for the next place to war. Like something comes like this and it's everywhere. An accident happens like this and in 3 minutes there are images splattered all over social media. So we are failing on that bit. I don't know how we can ensure that even as we give people smartphones and internet, we can tell them that this gadget can do more than just trolling and sharing these things, because Kenyans can actually be super fast when it comes to spreading information. Now, if we were to use that to make money online, we would make so much money. There's so much money online we can make, but we are not tapping into that because our focus is on other things.
And where is that missing link? Why are we not seeing the opportunities that are there online and we know we can earn from them? So what is this gap that needs to be addressed so that we can at least make a living out of it?
I believe we should have a structured way of sensitizing the public on the available opportunities. And this one can only be achieved if there is the government intervention. I know there are laws in place that are capping, like what my brother is saying, the data protection and so many other laws. But now we need to do what we call like civic education, or incorporate digital education in our curriculum so that people can see these opportunities and use them professionally. Because it's not enough to have a smartphone and internet, but do you have the correct content, or are you a professional in a certain field that you can feed your audience and they consume whatever you are giving them? So yes, the opportunities are there, but the missing link is the sensitization. And I believe the players in the industry needs to put it in a structured way. And if we are targeting maybe the young people, the young population, so that their energy is utilized positively in this digital space, and also to make them earn, improve themselves economically in that space is. Yeah.
And earlier on, Muriuki, Enoch was talking about some of the policies that have been institutionalized within this particular sector. So given that you work in the private sector, what are these policies that you're even recommending, not just to the government, but to the key stakeholders, who even to investors or partners that are maybe watching this particular sector, to improve on, so that at least it can ensure that the people who are working in this particular sector benefit at the end of the day?
I think from where I see it, number one is the data protection laws. So like for us initially, so we use a lot of marketing technology tools. So let's say, to be able to based on the data we have, and then sometimes you have clients data. So question is, how do you kind of, utilize clients data? And so it matters if you are a data processor. So from a regulatory aspect of it, you need to comply. But also, the challenge also we have also with the rules. Technology is evolving very quickly. Today, as you know, we're in the age of AI, and and how things are going from an AI, you've seen even from an European aspect, and also what is happening with Twitter in bits of Brazil. So my take out from call out, or let me say advice, even from a governmental aspect, is for them also to keep abreast with also what is happening, to be able to know things are changing very quickly. So also ensure also you are at par with whatever is happening, because for us who are in it, assuming now technology changes, the policies don't change, or you don't keep up with whatever is happening, it means you curtail what we are doing, and maybe we are breaking the laws without, not because we want to, sometimes it's because the laws and where the technology has gone are not at par at the same time. But for me, I would pick that from Data Protection Act as one of the key things from even the industry we are in. But I think for the rest, so far so good, to be very honest. Yeah.
Hilary, in terms of data protection, I'm glad that Muriuki brought that up. You witnessed what happened with the WorldCoin. We do know that information at the end of the day is wealth and power. So how can we protect the data of the people who are set to benefit from these key sectors and ensure at the end of the day they are not curtailed?
I think what's happening is the internet age is moving too fast for lawmakers. Like by the time you want to do this, we are in the next generation. So I don't know if it's because we have the wrong people in the leadership spaces, or it's because we are not keeping at par with what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
So sometimes you find by the time these law, like I just saw we signed the first law less than 10 years ago. Actually, less than 5 years ago, right?
It's 2019.
2019, yeah. So imagine it took us all that long to have that law signed. That's why if you bully someone online, you can be sent to jail. But before that, we didn't see that as a problem. Now, in those 5 years, a lot has evolved. But have you seen anything being done to, let's say, we signed this year, but let's update it to where we are now? We are not doing so much to keep updating, because you go out of the internet for 2 days, you come back, it's like you had died, because the things that happen in 2 days online, you can't keep up. So our laws are not keeping up with what's happening. We wait for things to go wrong, and then now that's when we try and come up and try catch up. So we probably need to find a way to be updating these things maybe 2 years, after every 2 years, because in 2 years a lot changes. Yeah. Even Facebook, let's say Meta keeps sending new regulations almost every year. And they keep telling you, these are new community guidelines, these ones were allowed, now it's prohibited, this one was not allowed now. So they keep changing. but our government is not exactly keeping at par with these changes. You know, like we tend to sit back, and then now things progress. Then now we try to catch up now after so much has happened, and we are trying to cover. Then now we go there. After that, we lag again, like that. So we should stop having that loop and, you know, have a graph that keeps at par. Yeah.
And Eno, given that you're in the consultancy world in this particular sector, how are other countries progressing? Especially, don't compare us to the first world. Let's take a look at some countries like South Africa and other countries that are within the confines, similar part to Kenya. What are they doing right that we can follow?
Maybe just to pick up from where my brothers left, it's true that technology will always overtake the law. Yeah, and this is a tried practice. But, and we have so many good laws in Kenya in digital space. But the implementation aspect of it is what there's a disconnect. For other countries that we can compare with, it is just the working systems. For example, in SA, the systems are working. So that it's not that the law is at par with the technology as such, but they are able to pick very fast and do what we call positive implementation, as opposed to some of our implementation that is negative. We kind of wake up and prohibit, instead of waking up and now building on it, and you know, asking ourselves, how can we make it better? Yeah, because yes, maybe it's a mistake because the law is behind it, but now how can the law catch up and not to stop it, but to make it even better? That is how other jurisdictions look at it, and I think that is a big gap in our players. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And hold that thought. To complement our conversation that is currently happening in studio, I want to take our viewers live to a conference that is happening in the country that started yesterday. It is the International Communication Week, and our very own Duta Mukami has been following on that particular bit. Induta, good morning. If you can hear me, what have the stakeholders who have converged at the Radisson Blu Hotel talked about when it comes to the International Communication Week? What are the irreducible minimums that you have been able to gather for the second day running? For ICT and Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Nyambura-Ndogo, she opened up that particular conference and, of course, talked about the building of a green data center that will be charged renewably with the various renewable energy sources we have in the country. You do know that compared to other countries within the continent as well as in the world, Kenya heavily relies on renewable energy as our main source of energy. Let me go back to Muriuki. Muriuki, you see the conversations that are ongoing there. True. I'm surprised. Were you there yesterday?
Not yet.
You're planning to go there?
Yes.
So you see the conversation that is currently happening. There are some of the issues that we are raising here in studio.
True.
So you've just heard from the CEO. So what are some of the key pointers you have been able to hear from the CEO that needs to be addressed?
I think the first one was, I think there was a question in regards to also Elon Musk and Starlink and what is happening. I mean, to us, competition is healthy. I think the key one also has been disruption and what is happening. And I'll also still continue comparing within our sector and what is happening within our sectors also, more so from the marketing and communication space. There's a lot of disruption which is happening, and it's being driven mostly by the tools, the technological tools, because everything now is about speed. How quickly can you be able to, offer solutions to clients at speed and at scale at the end of the day, and also from an automation aspect. So the thing for me is the things we can never push away, and where the world is going to at the end of the day. Internet accessibility is, it's becoming easier at the end of the day. AI, you cannot fight it. I think one of the key things also we are doing within our workplace is also, from a capacity building aspect, is also holding forums for trainings. Because also another area which is vital is how do you teach people to use these tools? at the end of the day, skills, impacting people with skills so that they're able to leverage on them. Hence the aspect of, I think, also education. And there's something my brother here mentioned in regards to ethical also usage.
Yes.
And that's why I say it's very hard to control people. It's very hard also to control emotions of people in the immediate when they see something. For them trained journalists, it's very easy because you know the rules of engagement. Yeah. But also part of also what we are doing, and also as part of also, you know, passing on the skills and bringing people in to come and even work with us to see what we do behind the scenes, is how do we teach people to ethically even be able to use these tools that they have? Because it's a weapon by itself at the end of it. So for me, my two takeouts from that conversation, especially the aspect of AI comes very strongly recommended for me. Because people cannot run away from it.
Okay.
Yes.
That AI, I have an issue with it. Let me go to Hillary and I'll tell you why. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about addressing unemployment in the country. Our sector, such as ours in journalism, already social media, when it came in, we had to acclimatize to it. Now, once the country as well as the world fully adopts AI, are we seeing industries such as ours and other industries that are very crucial, people will be losing jobs to machines?
Actually, the sad answer is yes. But there's a positive to it. That gives us space to actually now do machine learning, because you see, AI can't function in a vacuum. There are humans who develop these systems, the human who program. AI can't function on its own. It needs a human being to keep updating these things. So what happens is the best way to go about it is to understand where is the next phase of AI and how can I move into that space. Let me give you an example. Right now, you can do a video, an AI video from start to end without having to shoot anything. Now, AI picks this content from bits of information, right? It picks from, you know, databases and all those things. So without these databases, where does the AI pick information from? There's nowhere. Which means you as a media person, let's say, there's a space for you to create databases that the AI can leverage on to perform. So it may cost you somewhere, but it opens another avenue for you to actually make more money elsewhere. Because let's just be honest, there's no computer that will ever replace the human brain. Even 100 years from now, it's impossible. Secondly, if you ask the AI, let's say, to write a story for you, and you read that story and a human does the same story, you will tell there's a disconnect. One, AIs don't have emotions. Like, try to say there's an accident, and a human being is reporting this accident, and an AI is doing the same story. The AI will be plain. And if you tell it to give it emotions, now it goes overboard. It never really gets that middle ground. It tends to go overboard. So the idea is to understand what gaps exist that once we go AI, that I can leverage on, you know, to remain afloat. Because there are so many opportunities away from just losing. You see, human beings tend to get stuck in one place. Yes. Yeah.
And of course, change is inevitable, Enoch, we do agree. We even have this tool called ChatGPT, which I'm sure being run by, it's an AI itself. So it's some of the loopholes that even students have been using in their various institutions to ensure that they get good grades and they finish their assignments at the end of the day. But does that not bring the laxity, and it won't give such sectors, not just ours, but other sectors, the key concentration it requires to achieve the main goal?
It will. But to begin with, you know, life is adaptive. It's highly adaptive, and we cannot wish away such emergencies in the tech world. Yes, if we run that risk of maybe eroding the quality of the people who are being produced, the professionals who are being produced to the market. Because if you are studying and you rely on AI to maybe do your projects, you know that you will not utilize your mind and you'll not be trained fully to be equipped for the market. Yeah, so I think what we need to do as professionals is to adapt to the changing world. If there are trainings we need to undertake, we need to undertake so that we are abreast with the changing technologies, but not replacing human beings, replacing human beings with robots or with technology. It will never happen, and if it happens, then the quality will be eroded completely.
Okay.
Yes.
Muriuki, you heard from Nduta Mukami, who, as she was speaking to the Chief Executive Officer there. You heard yesterday from the ICT CS, that is Dr. Ndugu, talking about the building of a green data center and that will reliably rely on renewable source of energy. But is this sustainable going forward?
Well, I'm not the best from energy aspect, but one thing, number one, I can say.
In terms of storage of the data itself?
Yes, to begin with, I mean, we're in the right foot, to be honest. Other people are doing it. I know for such centers also require a bit of also a lot of energy. And I look at it from the opportunities it kind of brings on board beyond just the data centers. It's just the opportunities which are to be realized. Because remember, the new oil at the moment is data. So how you store it is also very critical at the end of it. So just that one, I think we need more. That means also capacity for people who come on board to be part of, managing those data centers. So what does that mean? More job opportunities. But also we need to train people. So people need the prerequisite skill sets to be able to work within those data centers. So for me, it's just an opportunity in terms of looking at it at the end of the day. It's the opportunities and the jobs which are to be created. And who are the better suited people to be in these spaces? The young guys, to be very honest. And when you look at our, they say 35, demographically, almost 35% of our, population is, 80% of the population is under 35.
Yes.
That tells you something. So all these are opportunities, to be very honest. So I agree. I agree with even Duta. I agree with what is happening. For me, it's more should be done because of the opportunities. And also something that was also said, I think I would also want to chime in into it in regarding to the opportunities. Yeah. I think yes, the jobs may be lost, but also I don't look at it from job losses more so. I look at it from, what more can be done. Because there's also the aspect of speed. There's also the aspect of multiplicity of what you can do. As a journalist, at the same time, you can decide today, I realize I'm behind the cameras, or at the end of the day, I'm in the newsroom. But in the evening, I can be hosting my podcast at the end of the day. I need ideas. ChatGPT now comes on board because I love ChatGPT. It's like it can be your personal assistant because it's you. The more you continue feeding on it, and yes, I still also agree with a bit of the emotion aspect. Now, that's where now we come in, because we cannot delegate everything and sit back and say, oh, it's ChatGPT which is doing its bit. So for me, all these are opportunity points that come on board for people, ideation aspect of it. And in case you need an idea around something, feed it. And the more you know how to use these things, the more effective you become, to be very honest. You can do amazing things with these tools. Yes.
Hilary, now is it time for our institutions, especially institutions of higher learning, now to be changing our curriculum so that it can suit this particular sector, given that the world now is moving through the digital space?
We're actually late. we are very late because, like I said, the problem is most of what this country does is catching up. What should have been done is, by now, the curriculum should have included a way in which people who are in campus right now can learn how to work alongside AIs, these technologies. Because, like he said, they do amazing things. The problem is, most people do not know how to use them. Like, you may find someone who has ChatGPT. Okay, let's begin by that. People don't even know there's ChatGPT. Now, this person is supposed to compete with someone who spends 90% of their time online and using ChatGPT to enhance themselves. How are these people supposed to compete, let's say, in 5 years it's almost impossible. Because see, the thing about humans is, the more knowledge you keep gathering, the farther ahead you become. That's why you see people you are in school with, you look at them 10 years and you realize, hey, you can't tell they were in the same class because one of them was way ahead of the others by maybe just empowering themselves or they were exposed. Now, these AIs tend to expose you to a world that you can hardly ever get exposed to it by just, let's say, being online. Because Facebook tends to, let's say Facebook or Twitter, tends to work with algorithms. So you'll find if you are a person who follows people who do business, you'll mostly get content curated along the business space. But if you go to the AIs, they tend to now open you to a different world. Like right now, I can easily log in and learn something about aviation. And that would not come on my feed, let's say on Facebook, unless I start following pages that deal with aviation. You get? So the idea is, teach these kids in school how they can tap into the AIs to better themselves. Because imagine learning from a teacher in class and then going to do research on an AI in the evening. How much knowledge will you have gathered in the same day? Yeah.
And the other issue that is coming up, Enoch, do we have the resources as a country, or have we allocated enough resources to ensure that the people in not just the urban centers within our country, but in the rural areas, have the same opportunities to interact with these gadgets we have here at the rural level?
The answer is no. There is a skewed allocation of resources, or maybe infrastructure. Those of us in the urban areas, we tend to enjoy technological infrastructure, but the reality is that most areas, interior areas, do not have electricity to begin with, and they have poor connectivity, the phone network. So you find that the internet is maybe the edge, the E. So those people are struggling. And when we are saying that we inculcate AI or digital learning in schools, which governments have tried in the past, there was that promise for computers for class 1 that never materialized because of infrastructure challenges, and those challenges are still present today. So and you can't introduce this curriculum at higher learning. Children should interact with it from inception, so that when your mind is still very creative, you can even make discoveries. Rather than when your mind is now formatted towards a certain interest of study, it's when now you are being introduced to computers. I'll shock you that we have children who have never seen a computer in some villages, or who have never even interacted with it. We have those joining the university that do not know how to use a laptop. They start learning when they in their first year. So the resources are scarce, and I believe there is no balance. I think the people charged with the implementation sit in the glass walled urban areas and maybe imagine that all is well down there, but the reality is it's not reached there. Yes.
And Muriuki, as a solution, what can we do to attract investors to come into the country and invest in such initiatives?
So, I mean, we opened our company 2 years ago. Idea of East Africa. So yeah, originally we are from South Africa. HQ is in South Africa. So now we are called the Hive Group. So we are part of the investors. Technically, we came here 2 years ago because Kenya is a gate pass to East Africa, to be honest. And I think from the earlier question you said in regards to, compared to Africa, how are we doing so far? Yeah. I think we are doing pretty okay, but more can be done. So in terms of from an investment aspect of it, and also to attract other players, in terms of, I would say also incentivizing people who are also setting up. Remember, any company or people who are coming here, setting up at the end of the day, paying taxes, assuming you're a small business, but you've seen an opportunity to come and invest, and you know very well there's democratization of, this space you are in, of digital aspect of it, where you have access to so much. So for me, maybe from also a government aspect, tax rebates, tax incentives also would be good for also companies which you are setting up to ensure you don't collapse. Because also before you stay afloat takes a bit of time. The market is very volatile at the end of the day, but also the gate pass from where we sit, because you're the gate pass for East Africa. You have access to Rwanda, you have access still to Tanzania from here. So I think for me, those are the simple tweaks that I think I would say for. And I would urge for. But for investors, I think Kenya is ripe for business. Opportunities exist, so it depends with the solutions. But also, lastly, the workforce, the youth, immense. It's now how we capitalize on these people. How do we create capacity? And at the end of the day, even for the people, because from our skill sets, I think people need to understand that these tools, or from a digital aspect, it's a green space where, you have access to information. All you need to do is how you apply yourself to kind of learning, knowing. You don't need to go to a school. There are all these 2 simple courses that you can pick up. Some are 5 days, some are 2 weeks at the end of the day. Just also people being also a bit intentional, but I love the idea that we have a workforce which is, I feel, from an African perspective, digitally, I think we are top there from an African perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me start with Hillary. Your final remarks in just 30 seconds. What would your advice be to the young people who are watching right now?
I would advise young people to realize that whatever you have that can connect to the internet, whether it's your phone, whether it's your laptop or your PC, there are so many opportunities that are bound behind that screen. There are online jobs, there's so much you can actually tap into. You can even do, do you know some of the biggest companies in the world do a business called drop shipping, where you sell products that you don't own. So basically what I do, I start a company, then I sell products for other people. You see, I'm basically earning from my space without having to own anything, without having to own a shop. So youth should know that behind that screen they have, there is more to life, and there is more money that lies in doing something that actually makes sense, rather than just watching videos and laughing, just dancing. Because our youth tend to just want, you log in and you just find their youth just dancing, and those things. There's more to life than just dancing online. There's money that can be made.
Okay. In 30 seconds, Anak.
Personal development is a personal initiative, and I'll advise young people to develop themselves by reaching out to learning in the digital space, becoming more creative, utilizing your professions to create content and to grow yourself. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Marieke?
Yes, for me, I think I'll start by saying the glory of young people is in their strength. The strength they have right now is in this digital space. The information which is available to just make a difference. Let people apply themselves in terms of just seeking to understand how can we learn in regards to these new tools, because that's where the opportunities are for young men and women, to be honest. So keep on digging. Please apply yourself, educate yourself, come to companies. Don't fear to do an internship, learn so that and then you can go outside there and fly.
Thank you so much. That is Marieke Murungi, the MD of Idea Hive East Africa, Enoch Chisengwe, Digital Economy Consultant, and Hillary Lisimbe, Digital Journalist. Gentlemen, thank you for making time for us this morning. And I need to pave way for my colleague, that is Nancy Okware, who's coming up next with Kurunzi Mashinani. We're also keeping an eye on the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, given that the KAU strike, the Kenya Airport Workers Union strike, has commenced today. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. We'll do have more for you in our subsequent bulletins. Don't go too far. Kurunzi Mashinani is up next.